When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that these daughters were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said,
My spirit will not contend with human beings forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years.
The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of the human beings and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said,
I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground. For I regret that I have made them.
First of all, we find it says that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. If we study this very carefully, we will find out that the sons of God are the fallen angels. Literally, those angels which fell from heaven, the stars that fell from heaven. And these wicked devils, these wicked demons, led, of course, by, you might say, Apollyon and Abaddon, the Satan entity, the dragon, the serpent, as he's called in the Bible. They saw that the daughters of men, in other words, human beings, women, human beings, were very pretty, were beautiful. And they didn't just ask them to marry them, they seized, they abducted whomsoever they chose. And from these, it says in verse 4, they had children. And those children were like giants, mighty men, the men of old, men of renown, the ancient gods and goddesses, were they not?
I mean, look at this. It says, a traveler from distant stars escaped from a dying world looking for a way to extend his own life. His body decaying and weak, he couldn't prevent his own demise. Apparently his whole species was becoming extinct. So he traveled or searched the galaxies looking for a way to cheat death. And look here, he came to a world rich with life where he encountered a primitive race, humans. A species which, with all his powers and knowledge, he could maintain indefinitely. He realized within a human body he had a chance for a new life. Now, he apparently found a young boy. It says, as the frightened villagers ran, night became day. Curious and without fear, he walked towards the light. Ra took him and possessed his body like some kind of a parasite looking for a host. And inhabiting this human form, he appointed himself ruler.
Why, when you look at the ancient accounts of the ancient gods, do you again and again see this reoccurring theme of the serpent race, the serpent gods, the flying serpents?
King riding a dragon. And notice the strange occultic code there in the book. Is this not Apollyon, Abaddon, Satan? Here's a famous painting. It seems to be a woman lying on a bed while she is being tormented by devils. Is this some indication all the way back to Genesis, where the sons of God, meaning the fallen angels, had sexual intercourse, relations? But they were more than that. I believe they were men whose blood was tainted, and maybe God, for punishment, turned them into beast. Half men, half beast. Look at all of these mythological creatures, the gods and the goddesses, and the creatures with their supposedly supernatural powers that the ancients tell us about. And many men today are now writing books and occult histories, and they're writing of these mythologies, and they're telling us these gods and goddesses are going to return again, even in the form of interplanetary extraterrestrials. Here is a picture of Mithra, Diana, the Hindu goddess Kali, the Hindu deity Ganesha. There's the Hindu god Krishna. Here we have a half man, half beast. We have Medusa, the goddess whose entire head or scalp was full of serpents or snakes. Athena, she is the goddess that sits atop the Capitol building of the United States even today. Imagine that connection. Here is Atlas, it is said he held up the world. Cyclops, who had an all-seeing eye in his forehead. Apollo and Daphne. Hercules, the strongest of the gods for all time. Icarus, Scylla, the famous Spanish painter Goya pictured Satan as a giant. And look at the giant that Goya painted. We have these bulls. Notice the head of the man, body of the bull, and they're winged creatures as well. Here we have a sphinx-like creature. Then we have Anubis, the jackal-headed god. Baphomet, whom it is said the Masons and the Knights Templar worship. These incredible tales of UFO aliens and extraterrestrials. And of course, they're often pictured, such as in the movie E.T., as something wholesome and good and loving. They're coming back to guide us through these planetary changes. Oh, they're going to be our saviors. It is said they were here before, and now they're back again to save us from universal catastrophe. Look at some of these pictures, though, and some of the artist conceptions and some of the movie drawings and pictures and images of these aliens. Do these look like your saviors in the end times? The giants, the Nephilim, the congregation of the dead. They may return, but friends, they're not returning from a planet X, from Niburu, from Sirius, or its invisible star in the sky. There are other regions, and we know them as hell, as the bottomless pit, because the Bible tells us that's where these creatures are coming from. False religions actually record and tell us that there were strange beings that came in what appeared to be spaceships or UFOs. They fell from the heavens. There was the beast that fell into the sea and rose up out of the sea, and that would correspond to Revelation 13 verse 1, the beast that rises up out of the sea. And they had strange craft And they were giants, and they had supernatural powers. And yes, it is said that they took of those whom they wanted the daughters of men. And even the ancient religions admit this. But what they don't admit is that these were in fact the fallen angels, the devils. They say they were gods and goddesses and deities, and they began to worship them all the way up to the Tower of Babel and even afterwards. These were the giants that were worshipped by people, the mighty men of old. They were in fact representatives of the devils.